Well, I was going to say, he's looking a
Might have
little
been.
rough. I mean, he's definitely got some character. So, like, what happened to
Oh, he's got so much
Gnomeo?
character.
Good segue, Justin.
Yeah, Justin, want to tell that story?
No, we can talk about it.
Sit back, relax, 'cause it's time for another podcast.
Well, hey there, Sugarshack fam, and welcome to the very first Sugarshack Podcast episode.
Woo!
My name is Bryce, and I'm going to be your host for the Sugarshack Podcast. And today we are sitting down with Sugarshack.
Hey!
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
everybody.
Give it up for
Boom.
Bryce.
Yeah, Bryce.
Bryce.
Thank you.
Bryce.
Thank you.
Come on,
guys.
Bryce.
Making this happen.
So, Eddie, we figured launching a podcast,
Yeah.
doing something new,
Yep.
and it'd be cool to start
time.
with the Sugarshack team.
Yeah,
So-
let's do it. My name's Eddie Kopp, founder and director of Sugarshack. We're sitting here at my house on the back deck where we shoot all the sessions. And to my left, we have Arian, all things graphic design, and also a camera operator. Right?
Yep,
Did I
yep.
miss anything?
No.
He's a father.
Always
Yeah, right.
Big Daddy,
This is probably the most
First sugar
important
baby.
thing. Yeah.
First sugar baby. Well,
Yeah,
I'm sure we'll talk about that.
the first sugar baby. Very important. And then we have Alex Casement, audio engineer, audio god.
AKA audio guy.
Audio god. You forget his
Makes
name.
bad stuff sound good.
Professional zip liner.
He also runs our books and finance and the business side of things, so
Dope.
that's very important. And
Gotta
then-
do that. Me and Arian both.
yes,
Well, yeah.
We wear a lot of hats.
We wear a lot of hats, exactly.
We wear a lot of hats. And then we have Spencer, also a camera operator and our
Drone.
aerial specialist.
Mm-hmm.
What else do you do, Spence?
Manage merchandise and
Yep.
kind of fill in all those little voids.
Keep the fans happy.
Drive around in the car all day and pick things up.
Many hats.
Yeah, he's
many,
what's
many hats.
the word you always call him?
MacGyver.
MacGyver.
Or the Swiss Army knife, he's been
Yeah.
known as.
true.
And then J-Dog, Justin Kaczmarek, DP extraordinaire.
Yep.
Let's
Sounds dirty.
emphasize
What's that?
what DP
I'm sorry?
actually
that sounds
means.
nice and dirty. What's that?
We just toss out that word all the time.
You're like, wait, what?
Wait,
Just gonna be second DP.
come again? DP, director of photography, on the film side of things, but then he's also our lead photographer. So,
Right. As well as I do
different-
color correction, editing, kind
Big
of
time.
wear many hats as well.
Many hats.
Pretty much it.
And then Bryce Ivie.
Yeah, Bryce.
Bryce.
Yeah. Cool. It's been cool getting to know you guys. And it's kind of a new friendship that's formed, but really we got connected through Narrative Coffee Roasters. So we started doing some projects together and hanging out and coming to some sessions. Narrative, by the way. Scoop up your coffee.
There it is.
Narrative Coffee
Brand new
Roasters,
Sugarshack roast.
Shack Rose.
which is delish.
Yeah, some good shit.
And just started getting connected and had some like interests and just felt like a great fit from the beginning. So.
It's been awesome, man.
That's
Super cool to be with you guys here today. And really, we're just unpacking the story. Because I think a lot of people, from what I understand, like, they know about the Sugarshack music channel or they've worked with you in some fashion, but they don't really know, like, how this all started and how you guys kind of got to the point where you are, which has been, like, a ton of success and
7 years.
tons of cool stuff and projects and exposure. And what I didn't realize is, like, you guys are, like, gods in some arenas, you know what I mean? Like, and well, maybe that guy. No, it's pretty funny.
I know all about that, but I don't know about the rest.
I don't know.
We
like,
have yet to reach the god level of Al.
I know for me it was so funny because Claudia, my partner, when we were in the car one day, we were talking, and I was like, yeah, I don't know, this thing could happen with Sugar Shack and, you know, this podcast deal. And she was like, you do realize, like, when I was, like, a teenager in high school, like, I was watching videos. I was like, it'd be so cool to go to a session one day. She's like, I think you're going to become, like, a Sugar Shack dude now.
Yes.
I was like, you're dating a Sugar Shack guy.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, no, it's been really
Sick.
cool already, and we're super excited to kind of unpack the story
It's
today.
That's
really.
a weird thing to hear, that like there's people that see that as like a, remember back when we were watching the sessions, like way back then?
Yeah.
And it's like, wait, yeah, I remember those stories of like people saying, my kid's growing up on your stuff, and it's like,
those are the best.
33.
It's a big deal, and people have already been like hitting me up through IG, like, "Oh, I see you've been with Sugarshack," and I'm like, "Oh yeah. I haven't heard from you in a long time, and now, whatever. It's cool. I love that. It's fine.
Yeah, man, we're happy to have
Glad
you.
to have you.
Thank you guys. It's
yeah.
dope.
It's gonna be a fun
Before we
project.
really do jump in, though, just wanted to kind of hear some of y'all's heart, passion, like I guess. How did this start? Where did it all begin? Take me back to the beginning.
Let's pour a fresh drink for anybody who needs this. It's gonna be a
You're like, I'm gonna
long
need
trip.
a long. Yep.
Yeah. So we actually just hit our 7-year anniversary.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
fucking
Cheers to that.
Cheers.
cheers
Cheers.
to that.
7 years.
7 years.
Feels
You
like
started when you
yesterday.
were like 12
It
years
really
old,
does.
right?
Really does.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah,
I don't think I had any gray hair when we started. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, the pressure and stress,
It's really
right?
come on.
That means I haven't had a haircut in like 7 years.
It's true. Your hair's gotten long.
Yeah, it's been about 7 years probably since
Wow.
I started this just before. So yeah.
You got a lot to tell your barber when you go in, You're going to be like, so, last time I saw you, I was in, like, high school.
I feel like if you ever do get a haircut, you need to preserve a lock and like frame
for
it,
sure.
Yeah.
timeline it. Like here, this is what happened.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Here, this
that's
is
a
what
good idea.
happened.
That's
That
the
would be
only
funny.
reason to
I should
go.
do that.
That'd be
That's
cool.
good.
Like
Like
a
a
lucky
timeline
rabbit's
of a
foot.
dreadlock.
Oh, man,
There you
that's
go.
part
That's a
wasn't-
freebie.
This part was in
yeah.
Utah. This part was in Boston. This
Yeah.
part was that'd be
Yeah.
cool.
You were in Oregon, it's like got green on it because it's just like from the trees and all the like growth
It's kind
out
of weird,
there.
but it's kind of cool. You can like
a cool
pass it
idea.
on to your kids or something like that.
Totally, yeah, it's a good idea.
I'll take one, Justin.
I'll take it too.
You guys are all getting one.
I'll take a lock,
Well, hey,
please. Lock for me.
want to pick this one first.
Hang it up at the shack. Put it on the wall.
Sure.
I
Ed.
love it. Well, Eddie, how did Sugarshack start? Where did it all begin, man?
All right, yeah. So 7 years ago, well, probably more like 8 years ago, like the idea started coming. I had been playing in bands all through high school, all through college here at Florida Gulf Coast University, and then Alex actually as well, audio engineer Alex. He was also in a band, and our bands had played together in the scene around Florida for the most part. And when my band came to an end, the latest band, I was always the guy in the band that was taking photos, was making videos with my GoPro, those kinds of things. And I'd always been a huge fan of session channels. And from there, I don't know, I remember watching other sessions online, and one specifically was Mike Love, Permanent Holiday, on High Sessions.
Mm-hmm.
And
Classic.
and we're all homies, long time. The five of us are long time homies, long before Sugarshack. And I saw that session, and it was like in this director's like dining room, and it was this most incredible. It's still like an inspiring performance for all of us. We still share it. And I was like, man, we could do this. Like, I want to do this. And at that time, I was just getting like my feet wet with filmmaking, and like I was on a Canon 7D, and just barely getting into it with a kit lens, and I remember a band here in town, SoFlo, had asked if I could make them a music video, a live video, and I said yes. Being like the person I am, I like to like fake it till you make it. I feel like all of us love that, live by that, and
You have to, right?
yeah, I was like, yeah, we can make you a video.
Beg
And
for
I don't
forgiveness later.
I don't even have a team. I don't even really like have anybody that can do this with me. I'll figure it out. Let's make a video. So I was working at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse at the time with Justin.
Yep.
And Spencer, did you work there
What
yet?
was your position?
Justin was
there?
there.
What were you doing, man?
Okay, so it was just Justin and I at the time.
Yeah.
I was a food runner, so was Justin. And so we were back at the house, and I knew Justin was a photographer, and he was taking photography classes at college, and he was a student there too. And I remember asking Justin, hey, do you have a camera? And if so, would you be interested in shooting a video with me? Sure. He was like, yeah, let's do it. Let's try it.
Of course.
So the band had said, where do you want to shoot this video? And because it was a live video of an acoustic performance, and it was called Change the World. And I said, well, I got a really cool back deck. I just moved into this house.
I think it was called I Don't Think.
What was it?
I think
In
it's I Don't
parentheses.
Think. Parentheses.
Change the World, sorry.
But, gotcha.
Change the World means more to me.
That's what I remember from it too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I said, I have this really cool back deck at this new house I just moved into, and we can just kind of set you all around in like a half circle, and we'll just film it there. And it's super tropical, and they're a reggae band, modern reggae band. So they said, sounds good. So they came over. You can find that video on YouTube. And we shot it. And I kind of call it like the unofficial first Sugar Shack, because when the band sat down and we started rolling takes, and we used the dolly and everything like we do now, and I just remember looking at the shot and being phone's on vibe. I remember seeing the composition of
Sorry, I think we said that like 5 times before we started this
I think
video.
I said it.
I remember seeing the composition of like the band sitting here in a half circle, and I was like, dude, this is it. Like, we could do this for every band, right? So from there, like, I don't know the time that lapsed between that SoFlo video or Sugar Shack session started, but I just remember thinking like, this is gold right here. Like, we should do this for every band. So from there, like, the idea just kind of kept bubbling. And I knew Arian was a filmmaker through the wakeboard scene, which is where I did all of my filmmaking, if you want to call it that, at the time, in the wakeboard scene here in town. And he had been a filmmaker and editor for a pretty sizable company at the time. Good startup, Gatorboards. Shout out. And so I knew he was a good filmmaker. I knew Justin had a camera. I knew Spence was dabbling into the drone scene. And then I knew Alex was like the one dude in town with a recording studio. So I had this list going of all like the prospects, creatives in town that would be a good fit, that are like down to earth guys, and just like super talented at what they do. And I remember working with Arian at the time. This was after Ruth's Chris. This was like probably like a year later or something. And I remember coming to Arian at the print shop. I was running deliveries for a print shop. He was a lead graphic designer, and saying, dude, I have this idea for a session channel. And he had a Canon 7D at the time too.
Yeah.
We do live sessions. I have
I feel like what every person cuts their teeth on.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Like you can buy it at Costco.
Right.
Yeah.
Dude, it does
now.
1080, bro.
Yeah.
I remember telling him like I'm thinking of starting a session channel, and from there I remember inviting. I don't think Alex came to the initial like invite over here, because like I had 3 audio engineers on the list, and I think I like called Spence, Justin, and Arian and Alex to come over. Alex couldn't make it, but I remember sitting in my living room here and being like, just telling them the basic concept of like, let's start a session channel. Let's use the bands that I've met over the last 5 years with the band I was in, and let's just start doing sessions for free for artists. Let's just do acoustic sessions. Let's distribute them from our channel only, and let's share them together. Let's help build brands up, and then they can help us build our brand too. And I remember just from there starting to invite all like the locals, starting local, everybody that we knew really close. And Alex at the time had hopped on board and was down for the ride. Nobody was getting paid. It was just like, I'll take care of booking, guys. Just let me do I'll take care of booking so you guys don't have to do like too much. I'll do booking, I'll do editing. And I just need your talent and like in your gear. A couple of things.
Canon 7D.
Stand there and move sometimes.
Yeah.
Like just be ready to move, maybe.
Yeah, and we'll figure it out as we go.
Right.
Yeah.
And we did.
And
And we started doing sessions for, episode 1 was a sweet tease. And I don't think Justin could even make
I
it.
couldn't even make it. I was bartending.
Yeah.
Alex was here.
We would rely on our friends a lot for some of those early ones. It was like a hodgepodge of like, we were all in on it. And then when it came down to it, like timing and everything, we had some friends that, again, it was, do you have a camera?
Yeah.
Bring it.
Yeah.
Like, do you have one? Bring it. Whatever.
I remember
Yeah.
hitting up homies in town that I knew had DSLRs and asking if we could borrow their cameras day of sessions.
Yeah.
And also at the same time hitting up local artists. Like, Justin, are you available? Arian, are you available? Alex, are you available? I'll hit up Jackie, see if she can come over. And then artists would come notified the same day to come film sessions that still live on YouTube.
Yeah. Still on the channel.
Those are still some of the best moments too for those people, because you look
Classics.
back and you're like, I don't even think she's sang in years,
Yeah.
all these things, and like those friends of ours,
Yeah.
people that we see a lot, like can come back and you always have that memory of like, man, like remember that night when you were like, you were a professional right there.
Yeah.
Like it didn't matter. Like you were in the light.
Lights, camera, action.
Yeah.
Oh, the
And just
lights.
our friends.
Nobody was treated
Yeah.
any less
Those
than
are-
anyone else, whether
Yeah.
it was traveling band or our homies locally that had the time to come over. Like,
Yeah. So I feel like from there it was just like let's build a platform with our local friends, bands that I knew, bands that Alex had relationships with, and then from there we'll kind of start venturing out to touring artists.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We were maybe like around, I think our first like touring artist was Ballyhoo, episode 7 or 8.
I remember that. Yeah.
We got lucky
Like,
with
we got
that.
a big band. Let's
Yeah.
do this.
dude,
Yeah,
and
they were on
they were
tour.
so down too. That was what was cool
Yeah.
about it too. We were all like, guys, here they come.
Yeah, we were so nervous.
I think we have one of our
Welcome to the deck.
Yeah. So this is it.
You round the corner,
Which is
there's
kind of
no
something
more.
you've told me kind of as a thing, like now when people come
Yeah.
and like visually they see a session, but they've never been here,
Yeah.
and it appears bigger, and then they get here and they're like, oh, this is it?
This
Like,
is-
this is
yeah.
this is what we got to perform on? You're like, oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And we're really excited about it. And they're like, okay.
Yeah.
It's always magic.
It was a little tougher, I think, early with the locals because it would be like trying to time it out of like we had to learn our setup time here, and I mean there's a lot of stuff that goes into it. So like we'd be setting up and they'd be rolling in, and that was when it was a real like, is this going on today, guys? Like, are we here? Are we allowed?
They
Like,
could sense the uncertainty in the
For
air.
sure.
we're a little better at
For
like
sure.
we're set up now usually an hour before the band's even
Sure.
here, so
Yeah.
it's like we're able to talk with them and stuff. But
Yeah.
like those early days, yeah, you were rolling up to somebody's just back deck in
I
the
love
middle
it.
of a town.
Yeah. And it was the film school of Sugarshack for us. Like we
Yeah.
all learned
Oh,
our
yeah.
skills right here.
Yeah.
Yes, we did.
Like repetition of like setup and breakdown and
Yeah.
learned everything about cameras right here, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Totally,
Truly.
100%.
Which
Yeah.
is really the thing, right? Like you can go and get a degree and that's like all good and fine and everything, but it's like it's real life shit that
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
Totally.
living it out and working it out.
I listen more to these guys than I would ever listen to a single teacher that I ever went to school
Yeah.
and like paid for.
Yeah.
Instead, I came over here and was like, so, okay, this is going to be a long one. The f-stop thing. I'm going to take
Yeah,
some time. So I get it. Fake light. Got it. F-stop. It's like more, you know, like it's
Yeah.
that was me,
To me-
sitting here.
This is what
6
makes
years ago.
Sugarshack. Like you kind of use that word magic, but it's just
Yeah.
it's such a unique circumstance situation of just like raw, undeveloped talent, but then just all kind of comes together and you guys all just like it
Yeah.
for some reason like the friction of you guys getting together and figuring it out as you go, like just pulled gold out. It's
Yeah.
great.
For
It's
sure.
it's kind of crazy, really.
Yeah.
You step back and look at like how all of you guys came with some like education and background, but
Yeah.
really you're just cutting your teeth. But you all together started doing it, and now you're like, wow, we're really, really, really good at this.
Yeah.
Each in your
Yeah.
own respective ways.
Right.
Yeah.
But like, it's crazy. Everybody brings something heavy hitting to the table.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And there's
Yeah.
also, there's a saying like you can have crappy video, but if you have good audio,
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Is that a saying?
I don't.
Is that really a saying?
I guess.
I mean,
yeah. I mean, it's true.
I think people say that
When we
about
look at our
audio.
older stuff now,
Yeah.
we're like, man, it was so bad.
Yeah.
Like, look how shaky, look how stale, or like if we were
It's
like
true.
on a tripod, like
Yeah.
we've
Yeah.
grown a lot on the video side.
Yeah.
But to have Alex
That's how I feel
audio,
about my audio too, though. I'm like, listening
You're like,
back
wait,
on
go
that,
that
I'm
way?
like, oh,
That's
yeah,
still
we're-
that around for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
like, oh man, it's so peaking right there. We're all like, what?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I think it was just none of us could have done this alone. Like
right?
Yeah.
we
It
could
was
only have
exactly
made
it.
this happen if
Yeah.
if all of us 5 were down for the ride.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what's crazy about it.
It was the accountability. We all would hold each other. Like if somebody showed up, I can't tell you how many times that I have like this just ultimate sweat come to me when I don't show up with the right lens or something. That doesn't happen
Your
at
whole
a
body.
professional setting. It might happen at a Sugarshack still because it's like we'll have times, you know.
Yeah.
But like if you show up to a gig without the lens, you're screwed. But like having come here so many times and been like, we're all in communication with each other and we're so fluid with just like wording and everything that's come from this team. Now, like when we're out on the road or doing something away from the shack, like we're still so like simpatico, like, or
Yeah,
whatever that term
dialed
is,
in,
like
yeah.
dialed in, because we've been through so many situations where we've been thrown into the mix of something maybe doesn't go right, or I can remember that plug shorting out before we had it completely fixed, and it's like, oh, so like no lights.
No lights.
That plug is still charred.
Yeah.
It's still black.
I don't
It's
even
like
touch it.
So
blown
tell me
up.
the story.
Justin gets shocked quite a
I get
bit.
shocked
here?
every
What
time I touch
happened?
that thing.
I don't know,
Yeah,
man.
y'all
I
like
don't
cheated a
You
couple
just
times on
one
that.
day you just
Dude, that's
overblew it or
just,
whatever.
Just the magic of this place, man.
Yeah.
It's just.
It's all
we
sugar
could
lights.
get into
It's
the
all the power.
electricalness of this, but
I put these.
Sure, it has nothing to do with all of the gear and lighting that you were running through one outlet
No,
with
that-
like 8 power
Yeah,
strips.
yeah.
at
that
the
was a
time.
professional
Yeah.
hook
Part of
that up.
We,
Professional hooked
we
that
paid
up.
money to have these outlets installed, so
Yeah.
that was an upgrade. Actually,
That's legit.
do
It's
you
just
got?
we run this house to the ground every time we try to produce anything, and we try to put up something nice. Like it pulls a little more from this house, and
Yeah,
What do you got, like
But
a
we've
50
learned it.
amp pulse circuit on this whole house or some
Yeah.
shit?
It's crazy to me. Like,
Yeah.
Tiny
acoustic.
little Bonita
It's wild.
Yeah.
pulling so much power from it. It's awesome. It's really cool. With the development of 5G, we're getting more than just faster internet. Our bodies are getting an extra dose of man-made frequencies that are not exactly to our benefit. And this is nothing new. We've been immersed in man-made frequencies, known as electromagnetic frequencies, for decades. These EMFs are just another toxic player putting stress on our health. No need to worry. There is a solution for everything, and Energeo Health has all the tools to protect you from these EMFers. With the help of crystalline technology, Energeo Health is our favorite one-stop shop for taking our health and human optimization to the next level. Whether it's for the home, office, travel, or your favorite technology devices, they have you covered. Head over to energeohealth.com, visit the shop, and enter Sugarshack to receive 10% off your order. I'd love to hear maybe just like some different perspectives. I mean, Eddie's really kind of shared his side and just like kind of how it all formed and reaching out to people and pulling you guys in. But like, take me to like some of the beginning parts for you guys. Like, what was that like on your side of things? Maybe a little different perspective from Eddie's and.
Yeah. I guess I'll go next. My perspective, there was, like we were talking about, we worked in restaurant businesses and stuff. So I'd be bartending, and the first session there was, I couldn't even make it.
Yeah.
After that, I don't think I've missed one since. Maybe like one or two others, but yeah, it was just like there was a level of like commitment that in the beginning I knew I had to make.
Yeah.
And there was times where even I was like maybe frustrated or something, like, oh man, I gotta go to Eddie's house and film a local band and not make $200 bartending tonight. Or like just like the funny things that like we built, the rigs we built. Like I made a little joke earlier, and it was about our lights. Basically, our first lights were like these big fluorescent bulbs that are like this big. Someone gave to me, and I was like, "Cool, I'm a photographer. I can use these." Like professional. And I went to Home Depot and bought these like totes and like
tubs,
whatever they're called.
plastic
tubs.
tubs.
Yeah, and I lined them with tinfoil.
Like you essentially were trying to make
I
like
made-
DIY softboxes.
Absolutely,
it
yes.
was.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
didn't
yeah.
have a lot of money.
Yeah.
When we started out.
We
to be
had
honest.
we had zero money.
Oh,
we were like, Justin, you got
this is
40
great.
bucks.
Tin foil,
Make it work.
plastic
Make it
container.
$1,000
All right,
rig.
all right.
And I remember we put it up on the roof and we looked at it, and like I took the lid. I even took the lid and like cut a hole out in the middle of it and put like fabric, so it was like a nice soft box.
Diffused.
Yeah,
Because you got
We had two of
professionals
them.
looking at this stuff all day, right? You got to make it look good, right?
Make it look professional, even though it was tin
It's-
foil and a
Yeah.
plastic.
So those
bit,
are
yeah.
2 totes, huh?
We probably used those for like a year.
Yeah, we used them for a while.
Wow.
And, so
Yeah.
They
there's
were
just,
waterproof.
there's
They
just
did
all
good.
that, just starting from scratch, building it all. Just being committed to something that you didn't know
Yeah.
where it was gonna go. What,
You had
what it
to
was
feel
worth.
the potential in it, though, right? To put
Yeah,
that kind
definitely.
of commitment behind it.
Like he was
Oh,
saying,
yeah.
when we worked with SoFlo, just that little instance there, or like just working with bands in general, because it wasn't just the sessions we were doing. We were doing music videos, we were doing like some other like commercial work, like weddings and stuff too. But the filmmaking side of it was just like we saw the potential in like what we could provide for it, and there was a void.
Yeah.
There was absolutely a void.
Yeah.
And then it just worked out well with our location. It's Bonita Springs. It's kind of like a little town, like no one knows about it, but it's located between Miami and St. Pete.
Right.
And every band goes from Miami to St. Pete or St.
yeah.
Pete to Miami.
So true.
Every
So
tour.
Middle stop.
Eddie used to hit up every band and just be like, "Hey, we're on the way. It'll take 30 minutes of your time," and that's really like,
Wow.
I think that's how we got Ballyhoo in the movement. They're going from place to place, and
Yeah.
because we start off with local, obviously.
Sure. But a cool opportunity for like maybe some touring acts too. Like, hey, instead of a show or
We
whatever,
thought
we
so.
can come in and do a cool session and
I would send them Mo Boogie vids. I would send them Audio Tree vids. I would send them high session vids. Other things that like are kind of what we're going for, in the same realm, live acoustic videos. And this is what we're going for. I know we don't have much to show.
Yeah, exactly.
But trust us, and we'll make you free videos because it's always been free for artists.
Still to this day.
Yes.
Oh, cool.
We'll make you free videos, and we'll give you some beers, and sometimes we could afford chips and salsa. And
Go big.
Go real big. A big act coming in.
Yeah.
Get the chips and salsa.
Get some chips and salsa.
pizza, maybe.
And those acts weren't as big, so they're like, oh great, we haven't eaten in days.
Yeah,
You know
they're
what I mean?
hungry.
They used to hang on it.
We had one band come through that Little Stranger thought it was like you were supposed to bring food. So they like showed up with one of those veggie platters that you get at like Publix with like the ranch and everything. And we're all
That's
like,
awesome.
what? And it's even in their session, he somehow hands him a pocket carrot
Yeah,
and he hands it to him and then he eats it,
greatest.
chews it, and then goes into his thing. And it was just
So
like,
funny.
that carrot wouldn't have been there had those guys not thought that it was like a customary to bring food to the Sugar Shack. And it's just like,
Like we provide our own food. Like we
who
have to
gave
come
that
in.
to them? Who told them that?
I didn't know that.
Which is so funny, like a party, like what do we
That's where that
bring?
carrot came
Bring a
from,
veggie
bro.
platter.
You think
I
that
don't
guy just
know.
rolls around with carrots in his pocket?
Yeah, dude. I always wonder where that carrot came from. That is funny, dude.
Straight pocket carrot.
Oh, that's
That just
funny.
clicked. Wow.
Yeah.
That's great. That's awesome. Veggie platters. All right.
Yeah.
It's great. It's cool.
That is good.
Alex, what about you, man? Just your side of things, your perspective coming into it.
Yeah, I mean, you all have touched on it a lot, but just this is like a wild ride, man. It's just kind of riding it, and from day one, it's always just felt like a dream passion project, and it's kind of weird how we've all taken it so seriously, but at the same time, like it's never been a job. It's always just been like what we do. I don't know. It's always just felt right. There's something really magical about this whole place that we're in and just this whole thing we've created. And
I would speak to that as like, I mean, we'd be working our day jobs when we would come into this, and I'd be either it was on the beach or I then took your job and like sitting in a van all day. But the job, this wasn't a job. This was like beyond relaxation to come here, because it was like you were not only hanging out with your friends, but you were most likely meeting somebody like who was really good at playing an instrument. So
Yeah.
you're going to like a show. You just have to operate a camera. And like that was the early days of it. Was like I was looking forward months in advance to seeing like Bumpin' Uglies come to the session, or something like that. So it was like when I got here, it wasn't work. It was almost like a venue to showcase like the fun side, the creative side, to think differently about everything and like be here in this place and like impress you guys more than anybody, like because the band's going to be filmed, but they're not going to see that until it's done and gone through.
Right.
But like when we have a shot set up or something, like you show up to this deck, there's no mics in place. You're doing all that, and like there's no cameras in place. Like all that has to be figured out as the band arrives. So like it was just like an instant like unlocking of like what are the skills that I have to just be ready to go. You know, like put myself in a place where because every time a band's here, it's always a different setup. You look at every session, there's a drummer over there, there's a drummer over here. Like, so it was just like a pressure put on you, but like a fun pressure where you knew like the only people who are going to call me out are my buddies. So like, what better way to learn?
And they need you here
Yeah.
in a sense. Like, so it's like, I'm going to
That's
call you
the
out, but
thing,
like
like,
also, I
you
need
need
you
it,
to
yeah.
figure this out.
100%.
That's a cool way to put it. It's like you guys are talking about, like, y'all like learn everything you do on this deck, and like I feel the same. I mean, I'm a little bit different because I do have a 4-year degree in music, specializing in studio production, but I feel like
In
the 4
godliness.
years, come on. The 4 years at college, I only learned just what they told me about microphones and
It's all
that
theoretical
kind
at
of
that
shit.
point,
Like,
Yeah,
but-
you were right
but
there
you don't
with us.
learn how to do it unless you're doing it.
Yeah.
Like that's just like anything in
Absolutely.
life. You're not going to learn unless you're doing it. So,
Yeah.
And they're not telling you, you might have a crow in the middle of your recording. Like, you're dealing with like studio stuff they're explaining to you. You're like,
Very controlled environment.
Yeah.
this environment.
Yeah,
it's a little
and I
different.
grew up in the studio world. Like that's
Yeah.
you go. You know, that's what
Yeah.
you do. You're an
Right.
audio engineer. So I've had a recording studio probably 3-4 years prior to this whole thing, and that's how I acquired the gear, et cetera, that we use in the sessions. But this whole thing was just a different feel, and I don't know. I've never really been into like the whole production as much, like producing music in the studio. I don't know. It's like I enjoyed it, but I always felt like I was more passionate about something else, and then I just kind of fell into this. And just recording live music has just been a really like a niche thing for me. Obviously, plays into what we're doing. So there's just something, like I said, there's something really cool about recording outside. A lot of people think like it's this like crazy thing to do, like recording music outside. But if you think about it, like what are you trying to do in a studio environment? All you're trying to do is control the environment so it doesn't sound like shit. You know, like
Right.
people put foam up all over the walls and et cetera, to make a room sound good. But it's like, we're outside. It sounds good already.
Yeah.
Sounds like you're out.
Yeah, and you know, we're not the first people to do this. Like I remember, like one of the bands I always looked up to, Red Hot Chili Peppers. One of the albums they recorded, they literally rented out this like crazy
Yeah, dude, I saw that video.
castle thing or something.
Yep.
It was crazy, but you know, there's like videos of them recording like crazy shit outside. And ever since I'm like, who the fuck records outside?
Sugar
That's
Shack does.
wild. Yeah.
Red Hot Chili Peppers and Sugarshack.
Hey,
There you
it's
go.
not bad company. It's not
Yeah.
bad company.
That's right.
But
Hell
since
yeah.
day one, it's like just mixing that first session. It's like hearing crickets in the background.
Yeah, those are the best.
You hear like
Yeah.
cars drive by and shit. Hopefully we
crow.
don't get too much of that, but
Some
yeah,
roosters in
it's
there.
just like this mixture of just beautiful like studio quality recording, like you know, just really great sounding recording
Yeah.
of the band, like they're at a studio, but just you know, being in this environment where you're hearing crickets and all this stuff behind you, and like really playing off of that.
Yeah.
You know, you're not trying to like get rid of that. You're not trying to make
Right.
it sound like you're in a studio. It's
Yeah.
not supposed to sound like it's pre-recorded.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be 100% live, and that's what we've always
Raw,
done.
integrated.
It's been
Yeah.
live, so like you know, playing into some more of the other stuff like later on in the sessions, like one of my favorite moments is when we recorded Pacifier in Carolina sessions, and like a mistake happened. Like Ted, the guitarist, lead singer, he literally just flubs like the biggest note ever, like just like a like the whole band like shuts off. It's like
Poop note.
and then they go back in, and like they didn't even care.
Yeah.
And like I'm like, yes, like that is exactly what Sugarshack's
Yeah.
about. Like,
Yes,
there's
that's
so
awesome.
many moments in our recordings where like bands just do like mess ups. Like who cares? Like it,
Yeah.
it adds character. It's really cool.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, like don't overthink it. We're not in a studio. You know, so.
Mhm.
Which is something
Yeah.
cool that I've noticed just by getting around you guys and just kind of your culture a little bit is there's an emphasis on excellence. Like, hey, if we're going to do it, let's do it well. It's worth doing well.
Yeah.
So we're going to put everything we have into it. We're going to put that commitment in. And, you know, as you kind of, you know, grew and things like that, you could invest in better gear and things like that. So it's always had this high level of excellence, it seems, but like not perfectionism, because there's a difference between the two.
Yeah.
You know,
Totally.
and it's not even, you know, there's that old adage that's like, shoot for perfection and land at excellence. I don't even think it's that. It's just like, no, we embrace the imperfections. We embrace kind of the raw, organic
I think
nature of it, but
Yeah.
we're going to do it really, 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 really well.
I like that
Totally.
one you just
100%.
said. I've never heard that one, but I always like the one that don't let perfection get in the way of great, because perfection is something that is unattainable. If you really believe in perfection, you can't ever get it. Like you're always going to find something wrong, but that means that you're never going to get it. But if
Yeah.
you settle for great, which is what we do here, I think, is like you understand all the things. Like he's never going to be happy with something that we're always happy with, you know, and vice versa. There's always
Yeah.
going to be multiple heads in this job or in this world that we live in. So like you're never going to seek perfection. You got to just make sure you got all your things you can cover figured out, and then it's going to be what people want. You know, like people are going to see that you're right next to a waterfall, so there might be some sound of water. You know, like we would never be next to a waterfall. He's made that clear, but like we have been near running water, you know, and
Never
like
done that yet.
that's like an audio thing that I've learned is like, why would you ever be near a wave, dude? Like why? But
Yeah, that one time I wasn't there, you guys recorded next to a fountain with a beach behind you.
We were
Microphone pointed
Like
at
perfect.
both.
This is just
Like,
great.
He's
Thank
got
you.
it.
Thank you.
He's gonna mix it. He'll just mix out the water, the double water.
I have a
You can just throw a
question.
compressor and a gate on that.
That's right.
Like, it'll be
That's
fine.
right.
We're video guys.
I don't know what that means.
Looks beautiful.
I want to hear
Yeah.
Arian's perspective
I love this
from the beginning, because
I was actually
Arian comes from
Yeah.
Yeah.
other startups
Yeah.
prior to this startup.
Yeah.
True.
And
Dish it out.
and and
Daddy.
Big Daddy, and
I
he's
was
just
gonna say you're
he's-
kind of like the dad of the group, right?
I am,
Like,
yes.
absolutely,
Kinda.
absolutely.
I think that term's come, full circle. For sure.
yeah, man. Tell us, unpack it for us. What's
Yeah,
it been like
no,
for you?
it's. I had one of those moments for sure. It's like you always remember where you're at, kind of situations. And it was like when Eddie was talking about, we worked together and we worked at the same print shop and sitting there doing graphic design. He walks in one day and says, "Hey man, I want to start this session channel. Is this, we're going to do acoustic music on my deck. You want to be a part of it?" I was like, "Hell yes, I want to be a part of it." Like,
Yeah.
because I grew up with music in my family, playing music, guitar and all that. So that was a big part of it. And then just filming as well. We were part of wakeboarding scene for a long time and just filming. I was with Alex, I had a 4-year degree doing video production and photography, and there's a squirrel.
I was gonna say it sounded like more like a monkey. I don't know, jungle out here.
So
Brace the noises.
it was like,
He's a regular.
absolutely, I want to do this. This is, and it was, like you're saying, it's a hobby. Let's start it. Let's just
Yeah.
do it because it's
Side
fun. We
project,
want to do it.
whatever,
And
yeah.
I mean, being at that first session all the way now, 7 years later, that's crazy when you think about it. If you're thinking, when you're talking about kids growing up, there were 2 and now there's 6. There's a big change when you think about it like that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and then coming from other, I was straight out of college with a bunch of buddies, same concept, started a clothing company, Vert Clothing, and we bought an old tour bus and we traveled the country and followed the wakeboard scene and all that and tried to sell clothing and, and tried it. We were young and dumb and no business sense, but we did it. We spent a couple years and there was not as much dedication as there is like with this group, because like back then you're like, we can do it. It'll be fun. Whatever. We'll figure out how
And
to
you're
do
like,
whatever.
Oh, shit, this
Doesn't
is
matter.
hard work. Like,
Yeah, exactly. And you wake up the next day and whatever. But now, like with this crew, everybody's on it. Like there's just, everybody wants to push it to the next level. And it's like starting that hobby and then continuing it. Just like trying to get better at what you do, and same thing with like going to school and learning what a camera is and how to use it. It's like you said, it's totally different, and coming here and then being on set and then just doing other commercial work too. Like this is all branched off. We do a lot of our commercial work as well, which we have a ton of fun with. It's been a pathway to so much other stuff that we've done. So it's learning. Learning has just been awesome. Like going through and we've gone through so many iterations of cameras since the 7Ds and the Canons to Sonys to Blackmagics.
Yeah.
It's just upgrading equipment, and that part alone is fun. Just geeking out on tech stuff. We all do that anyway. It's
Yeah.
like, now we're doing this full time.
Yeah.
This is what we do. So
Oh yeah.
yeah, there's, like I did the startup company with Vert Clothing and that didn't work and moved, I moved to Florida and started working for the wakeboard company and filming and doing their videos. And that's where I met Eddie kind of through that scene and met basically all these guys at the same time. And it was just one of those like synergistic things that happens. Like it just kicks off. You're like, this is going to do something,
Yeah.
like if we stay on it, this is definitely going to do something.
Yeah.
So, and it's like that, you do what you love kind of situation and the money will follow,
Yeah.
So it's obviously we're not millionaires, we're just doing what we love and still trying to push this brand at where we're at. So, and it's going up and up, and
That's awesome.
having a lot of fun with it every day.
Yeah.
It's awesome. So
So sick. So, you mentioned a little bit of this, but I think it'd be a good time to cover it because I think some of like the fans and viewers, they kind of focus in on the sessions portion, and that's really where a lot of the exposures come from. But Sugarshack does so much more than that. So really just take me through like the umbrella of Sugarshack and what all falls under that.
Yeah, that's a great question. I feel like so many people ask, like, what the hell is Sugarshack?
That's
Right?
such a good question to be asked because it always hits us and like you're in the middle of a festival and you got somebody who's like, dude, just
I
explain
don't
to
know.
me, and you're like,
Do stuff. Yeah.
right.
okay, so from what year? Like
How much time do you got?
2000? Okay.
Yeah. I was gonna say from the get go, from day one, it was like let's start this series, let's start this YouTube channel, and use it as like a platform to show the world that we can utilize these skills and create video content for brands, companies, tell stories for other people's ventures, and so we've done just that. So like like Justin mentioned, we had been doing like freelance video work, dabbling in that, weddings really like State of Mind.
We had like
State
a
of
sister
Mind
company
multimedia.
Okay.
because we were trying to keep. We weren't
Sounds
sure
before
how
Sugar
our
Shack, really.
commercial would dig the session stuff. So we had two different names for our
Split it
companies,
up a
right?
little bit.
Yeah.
So what-
But then
yeah,
like
sure.
everyone who was hiring us was like, we saw Sugarshack on YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, We're
We
like,
started getting
"All right,
clients
let's just go
Through
one
Sugar
day."
Shack, you know,
Sessions.
and they didn't care about Psalm or State of Mind or whatever.
Yeah.
They
No,
wanted
yeah, of
Sugar
course
Shack.
not.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, what were we thinking?
Yeah.
Like, this brand just like surpassed State of Mind like tenfold, bro.
Yeah.
It was like State of Mind was like struggling, and Sugar Shack was just
Well, usually you think your passion is going to be something that you have to put away
Yeah.
and that
Yeah,
you have
that's
to
a
like
great
follow
thought.
the
Yeah.
like normal norms of a media company. Like we got to
Yeah.
find the big name clients. We got to
Yeah.
do all these things. But our fun job was like giving us no money. And it was like just having bands at the stage because we wanted to do it. And we were putting stuff on YouTube and it was just being seen by a few thousand people, you know, maybe. And like that was worth it to us to not have money involved. And then yeah, we started getting noticed because of that. And
Yeah.
the State of Mind work that we were doing was commercial work that we were thinking, oh, we would promote this work, we would do that, but it would still be this, the clients were gravitating towards our camera work here on the stage, and it really couldn't be told like just through a few commercial works of like a different dealership or a real estate photo here and there. Like this was where they were really seeing like, wow, look at these people, like you're making look like $1 million,
Yeah.
you know? So it almost like we thought they wanted to see something else, and
Yeah.
they got exactly what they wanted from these, like
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
passion project.
Just so cool.
Yeah.
So
It's
there's-
just really cool.
yeah, it is cool.
It's
So
weird.
the Sugar Shack Inc. and then under that is the Sugar Shack music channel,
Mm-hmm.
and then with that we do commercial work and all things video and photo and graphic and audio.
Yeah, everybody's looped into it now.
Yeah.
You can't, if
Which is
you're
so great.
This
It's
guy or
like
this
that's
guy,
how we, like I
doesn't
mentioned earlier, how we got connected with Narrative is basically like you knew Caleb, one of the owners, and
Yep.
you guys started. And he was like, "Hey, I need some work. I need some video work or whatever."
Right.
And so Narrative just became one of y'all's clients.
Yep. So Narrative Coffee is who Bryce works for,
It's delicious.
and longtime friends. Owner Caleb is a
Yeah.
longtime friend of all of ours now, and he was early on asked. I think he through the music channel. Did he find us? I don't even know where that came from. The music channel.
I think
it
so.
I think
was.
the way he tells it is like there's some mutual friend connection or whatever, and he kind of connected with you guys like right before. I say you blew up, like
Yeah.
you started getting
Started
busier
growing.
and you started
Oh
growing.
yeah,
and
I
things
remember
like
the
that.
conversations with like
Yeah.
the word narrative being in our day to day
Yeah.
long before we did anything, because
Yeah.
it was like, oh, there's a coffee company up in Cape Coral. They're like
Start-up.
brewing it out of there. They're in
Yeah.
like a warehouse. Like, when do we ever get up to Cape Coral? You know,
Yeah.
like. But sure enough, we made it up there one day and he just opened his arms up. So it was
Wow.
it was that same thing as he
Kindred
were to
spirit
roll
a
up
little
here.
bit, yeah.
Yeah, like
Passion.
what do? You do coffee? Sit down, bro. Like
He was as passionate of
Yeah.
coffee as we were for music and for video.
exactly.
Wow.
Yeah.
He could make
Yep.
you care about coffee. You know,
And he
whereas
has.
True.
Yeah.
And he really has.
makes
made
you
us
care
all
about
happy.
what you're actually doing.
Pulls it right out of you.
He really
yeah.
has.
It's like, oh, you're using Keurig in the morning? And sit there. And just talk about it.
You're drinking Dunkin' Donuts?
You're polluting
It's like,
yourself.
that's fine,
Yeah.
but there's something better. you
That's
know?
right.
Yeah.
It is.
That's awesome.
I feel like the only reason we aren't drinking this right now is because we don't want to be like at double speed.
Yeah. yeah.
Like we'd be like, okay, so what's the next question?
If
And
I'm
you do not
drinking.
want to see Spencer at double speed.
No.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm drinking something out of a coffee mug, but it's not coffee. All right, so there's a very important member of the sugar. Oh, wait. Actually, before I jump into that, I'm sorry. Kind of off the spur question that we didn't really talk through, but the name. Where did the name Sugar Shack come from?
$1,000,000
I want to know.
question,
Eddie.
The
Yeah.
people want to know.
Be honest,
You know what I'm
Eddie.
saying?
Be
Be honest?
Oh no.
I don't know.
Oh no, he's.
I'll be
We
honest.
already talked
This
about
is so great
DPs,
because we
man.
didn't talk
can't
about
go
this
honest.
question, and it sounds very loaded. So I'm
okay.
excited.
Okay, so I think it's 11 years now. I moved into this house. I was living in like student living up the next town up, Estero, and my fiance and I, she lives here with me, we were looking for a place to get out of student living and into like an actual house, and obviously first and foremost Craigslist. And the first house we looked at, it said "Cute Fairy Home." Available now. And if you know Lisa,
Super crazy.
it's kind of odd how it's all worked out with that title. Cute Fairy Home available now. So I clicked on it, and I remember seeing there's only one photo, and it was of the main room of the house, and it's got the exposed beams, and it just looked like it had some character. So let's go check out this place. We walked in, and I remember the landlord at the time had like a cowboy hat that was like too small for him, and he was like the most quirky dude I've ever met in my life.
1 gallon hat.
Yeah,
Nice.
it was exactly. And I remember walking in, both of us, and we're like, "This place is amazing." Like we just felt the energy as soon as we walked in. But we were in between leases. Like that one wasn't done yet, and this one, I don't know, we had like a month, crossover or whatever. And my band at the time used the living room to practice as a rehearsal space. It was just an empty room. And I don't know, like the first couple days in, the band was already set up, and one day the bassist walked in, shout out Lance, and he goes, "This is a sweet little Sugarshack, bro." And it was like his first time here or whatever. And I was like, "Sugarshack, what's that?" And he's like, "I don't know, it seemed like an appropriate name." And from there on, like the band called it Sugarshack, and all our friends that came over called it Sugarshack. And then I remember after I had that conversation with Arian about starting a session channel, I was like talking with Lisa about what the hell am I going to name this channel?
Yeah.
Sugarshack Sessions is way too much of a tongue twister. I can't name it that. I want the word sessions in it. Yeah, like I can't use Sugarshack Sessions. That's like way too many S's.
Gonna put us to the bottom of the list.
But she kept telling me like, no, that's a great name. People aren't going to forget it. And then I told Arian that, and then he was digging it. And then I remember on the clock at our old job, I made a logo real quick because I feel like I got like promoted to like a different department, and I had a computer now on a desk, and I was like, "Arian, I made a logo, dude. Check it out."
Yeah.
It's still the Sugarshack session logo that are on all the sessions, and or like
I was doing the website at the same time.
yeah, we're doing it on the clock there. But yeah, it was just the bassist from that band like technically came up with the term Sugarshack, and it just kind of grew from there. Just our social circle here in Bonita just started calling this house the Sugarshack.
That's awesome.
And then I mean you're never going to forget the word Sugarshack Sessions.
Yeah.
Nor you can barely even say it.
Honestly, though, the
Yeah.
more
And that's the
you've
point.
said it, like,
That's right.
after you get past like 1,000 times,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
just built in.
It is.
It's impossible
Yeah.
not to say it.
But it's
We
the best.
have a killer blooper reel.
That is true.
We do that has never been published that we really need to work on.
We really
but
need to work on that.
It's the best when a band shows up and it's like first take, we call action, and they're like, "Hey everybody, welcome to Sugarshack Sessions." And it was like it's just like it really breaks the ice.
It's a Sean Connery, the Sugarshack.
Yeah.
I love it.
Justin gets the yell cut. It's just like a great it's a great icebreaker for like every band. So it's been really special for sure.
Hey, look, are you tired of waking up in the morning with a gnarly hangover from drinking too much booze? We've got a really, really awesome alternative for you. It's called Goodfellow Botanicals. Goodfellow makes euphoric, mood-enhancing, non-alcoholic teas. They're kratom-based, and right now we're offering a spiced honey citrus blended flavor. Kick back, relax, pour yourself a glass at home, at the beach, hanging out with friends, get social with it, hang out, pick up a growler. You can head over to @Goodfellow Botanicals on their Instagram to place an order to learn more about what goes into their euphoric tea blends. Enjoy, kick back, hang with us, enjoy some Goodfellow. So we've got to talk about the most important member of Sugarshack, and that's Gnomeo. What's happening, Gnomeo?
There he is.
Bro. You're making an appearance.
Gnomeo.
So where did Gnomeo come from? Where did that story begin?
Yeah, so when we moved into this house, Lisa's mother gifted us Gnomeo as a housewarming gift, and I remember he's just sat on the deck since then. But when we were filming episode 1, Frankie, the lead singer of the Sweet Teas, the band, I went to, we're cleaning off the deck, we're making it nice and clean, laying the rug and all that crap. I took Gnomeo and I put him in shade. She's like, "Wait, let's leave the gnome on the deck." And then, I was like, "All right, cool, we'll leave Gnomeo on the deck, whatever." And then the next band that said, keep the gnome on the deck. And then from there, just kind of kept rolling and rolling and rolling. And then it was like, this is becoming a thing.
Yeah.
We need to keep Gnomeo around.
He's become the mascot.
It
And now he's
literally was
like
like
the
a
face.
lights, camera, Gnomeo. Like it was legit.
Legit,
Like
yeah.
if he that was definitely on all of our minds, I think, before anything started filming wise, was like he's got to be there.
Yeah.
Like if he was inside or something, or he was being repaired, you're like,
Oh, is that when he was missing?
Well, I was gonna say he's looking
Might
a
have
little
been.
rough. I mean, he's definitely got some character. So, like, what happened?
Oh, he's got so much
Gnomeo?
character.
Good
Like,
segue, Justin.
Yeah, Justin, you want to tell that story?
No, we can talk about it. So I don't remember what session it was, but we were setting up and we had a time lapse going, showing like the rug getting laid down,
Yeah.
the lights, everything getting in place, the mics.
What we do.
And I was like, man, it'd be cool if like the gnome was moving the whole time. So I was like walking him around, I would just move him like every like 2 seconds. And then like I had him up on the roof for some reason. I don't even know if that was in the shot.
It was the final spot. Was
I
right
put him in
there.
the roof, and I remember Spencer was right next to me, and he was right here, and Spencer was standing right here, and I was on that side of Spencer, and I felt him go. So I couldn't do anything. He started falling off the roof, and I tried to run around Spencer to grab him, and by the time I grabbed him, I think it was this tree. One of
He's
the
trying to
trees.
paint this like I caused it. Like I was in the way. He would have caught the gnome.
I mean, technically, you were in the way,
Not
but it wasn't
at
your fault.
Not at all. Going back, Spencer not even part of this
All right,
story.
Spencer wasn't
Justin
even
dropped
there.
the gnome.
Spencer wasn't even there. Actually, I'm misimagining that part. But anyways,
Spencer and
I
Justin
caught
show.
the sad part.
You caught him.
I caught him, but he hit the tree at the same time and shattered in my hands. Yeah.
So you didn't even shatter on the ground. He shattered
No,
in
my,
your hands.
it hit the tree and shattered. Yeah.
Justin watched his face just crumple.
I didn't
Yeah.
know that.
Oh.
Justin.
Yeah. It like hit this tree at the same time. I caught him. I was like, and it just like
I remember
fell
that.
apart.
Crumbled.
Yeah,
because
so-
he had most of them in his hands. That's
And
why
then,
we have.
and then who put him back together? Did you?
Humpty Dumpty over here.
that's not.
Right.
That's not my name.
It's not my name.
So Spencer runs to Ace Hardware and shout out to Ace Hardware.
Justin's telling the wrong story now. He's just. Let's hand
Okay,
it
well,
off.
you take it from here.
I stitched him back together
Yeah.
with some glue,
stitched
and we had to get him ready because it was for a session. Literally, we were doing a time lapse, preparing for
For
a
a session
session.
coming
So,
in,
like,
yeah.
the band coming in needed Gnomeo to be there for them,
Absolutely.
and he was broken, and so we stitched him together. His back definitely had like a big hole here, all these different things, but the front of him was good, and he actually survived that way for like.
Years.
Probably,
Years, yeah.
yeah,
Wow.
years.
Years.
Years. He was filled with great stuff. So great stuff.
Spray
It's
foam.
this spray foam that expands three
Okay.
times.
So we filled him, but then it expanded it.
But then he broke like as he was
Yeah.
expanding.
I underestimated the expansion, and he expanded, hulked out for a second, and then got smaller again, but stayed. He
stayed together. It all stayed together.
Wow.
And we had him like that for years
Oh
because
my
that
gosh.
great foam, that great stuff foam, held him together on many like trips to St. Pete to Reggae Rise Up. We had him
Wow.
looking like
Yep.
Bride of Chucky. He was like
That's
ripped apart.
hilarious.
All those lines you see that are like barely there were like very obvious.
Yeah.
Like
Wow.
very obvious cuts. And
Well, he's aging really well.
that is
Yeah.
that's
So-
all to
This is full on
Who was
second
it? Yeah.
surgery came
Yep.
around.
real
buddy
real
of mine that
professional.
does-
Dad had to
Buddy
come
of mine
in
that
and
does well,
save
not
the
me.
day.
I didn't do it. Victor, good friend of mine, does framing and all
Shout
that.
out to Victor.
Victor's framing, yeah.
Big time.
I said, Victor, can you make him, because he does masks, he'll take masks
Yeah.
and put them back together. I said, can you make him normal again? And he did it. I
Victor-
kept getting phone texts, like Victor would have a bottle of whiskey sitting there and just pieces of Gnomeo all over the table. And you just see his face. And he did it, man. He came back
Wow.
together and painted him. And
Yeah,
this
looks
is the
good.
best he's looked, really.
I
That
mean,
is fantastic.
He
Yeah.
patched in some holes.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a hole there. There
Wow.
was a
This is all
hole
missing.
there.
Yeah.
Victor
Gnomeo
made him.
I just remember
breathe.
he did.
After it
Yeah.
happened, I went to like every Home Goods, every like Pure One, looking for a gnome that looked just like I couldn't find him.
Yeah. How
I
do you
found one
replace
on I
Gnomeos?
found one on Google, but it was green and it wasn't for sale. It was just on someone's Pinterest or something. It was
Oh,
just
really?
Like,
I found the brown
looked
one
just
on
like
Pinterest
it.
too.
It was like green or
There's
brown.
a brown. There's
the
a
only
greenish
one-
brown.
It's the only one
You
out
click
there.
on the
There's
link.
only one
and
blue.
it-
Yeah.
It's no.
Yeah, you click on the link and it goes
Probably a
nowhere.
whole
Those are his
family of
brothers.
Except for a
those.
semi-trailer sitting somewhere
Yeah,
full of them. Just nobody knows they're there.
There's a golden mold somewhere
There
with a
is.
Gnomeo mold.
Junkyard.
Where it's
There
like
is.
it's So
if anybody out there can like replicate this dude, we want to talk to you.
Well, I mean, how? But
Yeah.
he
3D
is who
print.
he is, though.
But he
Like,
is
how
who he
do
is,
you-
man.
I know,
How
but
do you
like-
replace him?
Then
No,
okay,
we're never going to replace that. That's
Well-
this is more bringing Gnomeo to everybody because
On
we're
the
always
road.
getting asked like
Yeah.
that's the closest we can get to it is a green shirt with him on it. Like
Yep.
we need a physical representation of that guy that we don't have to bring to everybody so
My
they
friend
can
has
see
a
him.
3D printer. I mean,
That could be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've
talked
talked
about
about
that.
it. We've
Yeah.
talked about it. Little
Molds
figurines.
and
Yeah,
We definitely want to get there.
little
Yeah.
keychains.
That's in
It's
the goal.
gotta be-
That's in the
People
future.
ask
There you
us
go.
all the time.
Boom.
He's got to be made of the same heart and soul that went into that guy though
That's
because
right.
again that
That's
came
right.
that came from Home Goods, right? But like
Yeah.
that version
Yeah.
is not a Home Goods product
No,
anymore.
I would
That
say,
is
I would say not.
that's a whole
Yeah.
lot of
Discontinued.
Definitely discontinued.
oh,
Discontinued.
for sure.
Something that Spencer talked about earlier that I think I'd love to unpack a little bit. It's just from day one. You said like when people would show up, no one was different or better than the other. And as soon as I met you guys and started interacting with you, I really got that vibe. And it's something that I've always carried as something I value, and I think that that's something where we connected right away on. It's just the inclusivity aspect of it, because I think in the music industry and definitely in the media production industry, you have a lot of at times like entitlement and at times like arrogance and some superiority and things like that, and then sometimes it's just like, yeah, we just have to deal with this and it's just the dynamics at play. But it's really a rare find to come across people that are in this industry and really are like, yo, we're all just people. You know what I mean? Like, we put our clothes on the same way as everybody else does. Like, we're just, so I'd love to just, if you have anything to share on that, it's something that's really spoke to me as I've gotten to know you guys, but I'd love to hear from you. Like, what's that about? Like, and it's something that you each carry in a different way, but has that been a value for you guys, or what are some of your values of Sugarshack and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I think it's since day one, everybody's kind of been homies, like that's where it started. And starting a business with homies isn't the easiest thing to do, but as long as we've been doing it, I think everybody's like learned from each other too, like I learned from these guys so much, and then they learned from me, and I think there's always growth, which helps, like keeping this crew together, and the company's going to grow, and there's people that are going to help down the road and things like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's just like you're saying, the inclusivity of it all. We've done a lot together now for 7 years. We've experienced a lot, gone a lot of places, like traveled a lot, and there's been a lot of ups and downs. It's kind of part of running a business too. And then just staying level-headed, I think, has been huge. Everybody's just stayed level-headed and knows that there's going to be turmoils and knows that there's going to be awesome things that happen, and I think it just grounds us, as people too. So
Keep the big picture in mind.
yeah, absolutely. It's what you have to do.
Yeah.
Well, and to speak to what you're saying, like, and with that common ground of like everybody, when they show up here, I feel like, again, we're all learning from each other constantly. So when a band shows up here or somebody shows up that's coming right off the road, like if we've never met these people, like there's no thought in my mind to think like that we're established because we've worked with many artists before you. It's like, no, you guys are pulling just as hard as we are at trying to find something, your place in this world, or like what you can provide that somebody cares about somewhere way out there. So it's like when that band's walking up that walkway, they're in the exact same position as us. It doesn't matter how many years we've been doing this, but the bands that come down here, I mean, they've been given just as much of that pull and push in their own worlds. And they're actually, I mean, in the early days, they were taking a chance on coming here worth their time. Like they could be playing any number of venues to make money at, and instead they're coming somewhere to hopefully get their self seen by more people, and like in the early days, those more people were a couple thousand, if that. And that was because we were putting it on an internet channel, like hopefully 1,000 people can see this, like, and so that's where it always came from, was like, you're not gonna ever be, I don't know, you're not gonna ever look at somebody the right way if you're thinking you're better than they are just because of what you've done in the past. It's like when it all comes down to here, like we're both producing. Like
Yeah.
they're here 100%, we're here 100%.
Yeah.
So like it takes us both doing 100%
Mm-hmm.
to create an amazing session. And like I think that's where it all comes back to. It is like humility is huge in this group. Like we're always calling each other out for certain things. So like when a band gets up here and they kind of feel that stress because they're like, oh man, like Soja's been sitting here, people from Soja's been sitting here or whatever, like their favorite band have been sitting here before
Yeah.
them, and now they get the chance to sit here, but yet there's no judgment on that side of the camera.
Yeah.
We're like sitting here, we're like, dude, what was that one? Like I'd never
Yeah.
heard, is that a new song?
Yeah.
Because it's always different. And
Wow.
it keeps you grounded. Like it does. It keeps you humble, and I'm always gonna be humble. I don't know how to play a single instrument, so I sit there looking at these guys, and I'm just like, all I have to do is make you look good. You look good.
I don't know
What
many
am I
people
doing?
that can
Like,
build a drone from scratch, though.
There you go.
The
That's a
other
different
day, Spencer and I were at Narrative across the path. He was like, "Yo, you got to check out my drone." I was like, "So, like, where did you get this?" He's like, "No, bro, I made this. I made all of this." I was like, "Oh shit, okay,
Pretty
all
awesome.
right."
I did that because, again, like that's the first time I've built that thing from scratch. I've never done that before, so like I'm gonna tell you, I'm humble with that because, oh my gosh, undertaking. Whoa.
That's awesome, though. Yeah. Other values, philosophy. I mean,
Yeah, I had something to kind of play into what Spencer was saying. It's like, as far as all feeling equal, it's like that's where our head's at. But in another portion of it, like there is, like you were saying, Bryce, there is this reality, like this kind of like fake reality of like this. I hate to call it like this, but it's just truth. Like it's like this almost like this hierarchy kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like some bands are more established than others, etc.
Sure.
So kind of playing into like my days playing in a band, like that was always like a big excitement for me. It's, you're chasing this high of being on the stage, and that's a lot of musicians will tell you it's like always like chasing this high every time you're on stage. It's like the best drug you ever took,
Yeah.
playing in front of fans that love watching you do what you do. I've always felt that on this end, even though we're in the background, like it's always felt like that for me doing what we're doing.
Same.
Which is really, I think, one of the main things that drives us for the passion. It's like being in a band, but we're doing the production end of things.
Right.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, we're always shooting for like, bigger and bigger artists we can work with as far as this, is established. And
Yeah.
we've always taken our platform, like we said from the beginning, it's like we grew from nothing, what I mean? Just like a band.
Yep.
And I remember the first time we got our own trailer or van, it's like almost funny. It's like we almost like feel like a band.
Right. It feels that way a little bit.
Like
Like,
we're
a band,
going
but
on the
you're
road. And
Production,
it's like, all right,
production
we're
all
company.
go now. We can ride together.
We get asked that a lot at
Yeah,
airports.
it's really kind
when
of
we travel a lot. We do get out. Are you guys a band?
Yeah, it's pretty. It's
kinda.
the comparison is uncanny. It's really kind of.
I play drone.
I love it.
Yeah.
But instead of opening for bands like you would as a band, right? Like, I get to open. Like for us, like we were always, like a lot of us grew up in like the American reggae scene, so like those were the bands that we all loved together, and that's how we kind of established our name is in that scene. And it's like, like if we're ever gonna like get Slightly Stupid or like somebody like that, like to us that was like, working with Prince or somebody. It's like the craziest thing in the world, Like that's like who I grew up listening to on the beach in high school,
Right.
I'm sure,
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
et cetera.
I
For the
never
rest of
once
us.
thought that I'd be working with any of the bands that we work with. Like that wasn't a thought in my mind, and I can remember listening to G Love, Rainbow, riding a kayak down the bayou back in Boca Grande, just being like, this is like that's not a thought in my mind that I'm ever gonna meet this guy, like or even like be near this guy. I'm just gonna listen to his music and dream about what he looks like. Maybe like, I don't even know what he looks like back then. Like I was just like, this guy's awesome. This guy's just gonna be my soundtrack, And now like I've met the guy, and you're like, this is
Dude,
it's
we have
different.
a session of that song
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
on our
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm
Crazy.
like 1,000 of those listens.
crazy.
But it's funny. I feel like it's almost like a buggy I get out of you. It's like, the famous people like you get to meet, like that you think are like so famous. And it's
Right.
Like, it's like when you finally meet them and work with them and stuff. And it's
They're
like
just
this
real
is the
people.
coolest thing, and it was. Like, it was like
Yeah.
the coolest thing ever to work with like artists that we grew up listening to, etc.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it's a nostalgia
now,
thing
like-
more than anything.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
hitting
Yeah.
a nostalgia chord. You're like, dude, I can remember this, but like, they're not any different than when another band rolls up that maybe just
Exactly.
started a month
Yeah,
ago
sure.
and is killing it, and you're like, dude, we got to get these guys in
Yeah.
here. Like, they sound amazing because, again, to go to that, it's a fake hierarchy. Like
Exactly.
it's
Yeah.
it's just whoever got the break, you know. And so
Yeah.
like, who's to say this day and age, like, you know, anybody who puts himself out there can get that break. So why still form this hierarchy of like, you made it to the top, so you're the only good
You're
singer
better somehow. Yeah.
Yeah, like, no, dude, there's a guy tomorrow that could discover he has a voice and
Yeah.
be the next, you know, Prince. So
Right.
like, it is true. It's good to operate in that world, like, of not letting that take over.
Yeah, I think creating that community around Sugarshack, all things Sugarshack, has been probably one of my favorite parts.
Yeah.
Creating that community between all the artists that we've had the pleasure to work with over the years, and that ladder that will forever be climbing of artists. But then like the audience too. The audience are the Sugarshack community, our followers, our subscribers, everybody. They cheer us on as they see that we're working with bigger and better artists.
Yeah.
Maybe not better, but bigger artists
Yeah.
with bigger platforms. And then the artists that we've worked with in the past, they cheer us on too. So
Yeah.
it's like this community that's just like,
It is cool.
just help inspire everything, and just
Shout out to Lisa.
Hey, Liz.
That is true though. Like,
Our house photographer.
Yeah.
like you start to learn these bands is obviously more than just the bands. Like, you learn of the different individuals that make up the band,
Yeah.
you know. And it's hard to do that when you just watch them on stage. You're just like, dude, that bassist is awesome, and that
Right.
that is Treehouse, you know. Like, you don't solidify each individual, but then when you come here on the stage and during setup and everything, you're meeting individuals, and that's what that comes from. That community is like,
Yep.
we now have these friends and bands that we used to just listen to as an entity, and now it's friends of ours, and it's now being paid. It's being paid back of like, yeah, they want to see us now grow, just like we're in the same echelon.
Yeah.
I like that word.
Nice.
We're in the
Good word.
same
Yeah.
echelon as them, and
word.
but it's because we're, you know, I mean, we're just as passionate. You know, we want to keep growing this company to whatever we're allowed to do.
Yeah.
You know, and beyond that, if somebody
awesome.
tells us no, let's keep going.
So
That's
sick.
right.
Best moments. What are some of like your most favorite moments? I mean, over the past 7 years, you've had a lot of them, you know. So maybe just hit me with like a couple ones. Like, what are some of your
So many
favorite?
good ones.
Funny, scary, intimidating. One of the awe-inspiring. You know, what are some of your best moments?
I just talked about Slightly Stupid, so I'm just gonna roll
Yeah, yeah.
off on it just because it plays
Yeah.
right into it.
Yep.
Slightly Stupid is one of my favorite bands, like since high school, like I
Yeah.
said, and it's been cool to be able to work with them.
Yeah.
So like, I'll just start off. One of my favorite moments. It's not on the deck. It's so we do other things on the deck. I'm sure
Yeah.
as most
Yeah.
fans
take, yeah.
would know, you know, on this channel. So
Yeah.
we were working at I believe it was Reggae Rise Up.
Or was it just a?
No, it was a Slightly Stupid show.
Slightly Stupid
yeah.
show,
Vinoy Park in St. Petersburg.
Mm-hmm.
And we had gotten connected with their team through our network, and they had agreed to let us do a one-take video. Back in the day when we were just starting this kind of stuff, it's like, oh my gosh, we're working with this crazy big band. Like, you know, getting an advance on like any of the people that we're supposed to be working with, that was like crazy. Like, you know, just getting credentials.
How do I start this?
Yeah, I mean, just getting
many
credentials to
channels?
get into the show. It's like, yes, we had the in. Yes, they said yes through whoever manager of
Right.
whatever management
layers
team
that you
of
had to
whatever-
go
like,
through.
Oh, man.
One person says yes, but that
Yeah,
trickling
right.
down to the other manager, the tour manager, then to us was like, this is
Yeah.
like before, like
Right.
they knew who Sugar Shack was
Yeah.
for the most part or whatever.
Yeah.
So
you
it's
had to
like,
get vetted out.
yeah.
for sure.
Zero vet at the time.
Zero.
So I believe that we literally drove to St. Petersburg specifically for this show, and
We
now it's
did.
coming back to me. And we had invested in this piece of gear, like just to record the show. I was trying to figure out, okay, it's like so
that's
stupid.
right.
They have like
It's all coming back.
a lot of channels.
Yeah.
Like, that's a big band. And I'm like, so I got this little thing, and I was trying to figure out like what kind of equipment are you using, and I was able to at least get a little bit of advanced info from like they're using this specific console, this specific type of digital network,
Yeah.
which is called MADI, M-A-D-I, for any audio nerds out there, which is actually one of those networks that's kind of a dying network. Regardless, we purchased this piece of equipment. It was about yay big, and it's this digital signal that goes right into it, and then you can record up to 64 channels right off at this little interface. I mean, it's unbelievable.
I can remember this exact day where you were like,
Me too.
we need to have this, and it's this much. And it, like, now we're like, get it. But,
Yeah.
like, back then we were like,
It's like hurt.
Yeah.
We'll pay you back.
Can we return it? Is that? I don't know.
We're talking about returning
Don't
it. That's
do it.
right.
30-day
out of the
trial
box,
window
right.
there. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we were gonna return it, weren't we?
We were, yeah.
We're gonna use it and return it.
We didn't actually do that, I promise.
No, we didn't. We didn't end up
we
returning.
kept it.
Anyways, make a long story short. So I remember sitting on a bench behind Vinoy Park with Spencer. Actually, he were like filming with a drone or something. It was like 15 minutes before the show starts. We still haven't gotten the advance to actually go in and set up. And I'm trying to be that guy who's like, I'm not going to be a pest. So I'm like, whoever I talked to said, oh, just go up to this front of house, which is like if you don't know, like the sound equipment in the middle of like the crowd.
Yeah.
And that's where the main audio engineer runs like the sound for what everybody hears in the crowd. And that's where I'm plugging into. And so I go up to him finally, and I'm like, 15 minutes before the show, I'm like, oh, I'm here to record the show. He's like, oh, I heard about that. Why the hell weren't you here 5 hours ago for sound check? And I'm like, I don't know. I never got
We
the
were.
order.
Sugarshack.
We were sitting outside of the gate. They wouldn't let us in.
Yeah, exactly.
We were.
I'm like, I brought my gear, and it's
With
like
general
this
admission.
little like thing. He's like, what the hell is that thing? I was like, do you have Maddie? He's like, well, I would have put the card in the system if I knew about it in soundcheck.
Yeah.
So, anyways,
Oh
slightly
my
stupid sound
God.
engineer who I've been able to become really good friends with. Jay Wiz, awesome guy. Shout out to Jay Wiz.
Hell yeah.
Shout out to Chase Wiz.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the whole time this is happening, Al's like, I'm working with slightly stupid.
Yes. It's like it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
This is
So
awesome.
he was super fucking cool, and
So
Okay,
good.
I got another awesome moment.
Yeah.
yeah,
I think it
I've
was
been
when-
talking too long. Sorry.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
No.
It was an awesome moment, though. I remember that.
I think for all of us, super special is when the Green came here
Yeah, absolutely.
from Hawaii. It was like the farthest
Yeah.
a band had traveled
Yeah.
to come sit on this bench. And
Yeah.
I remember us just all being like super nervous, like truly nervous.
Sure. Sure.
Like and
Yeah.
like whoa, this is big. Like we're on to something good here.
Yeah.
And that was just a really special night for us. And one of the neighbors ended up hearing the music and came over, and she felt inspired enough afterwards that she gifted us like a huge painting that hangs on the wall in here of the
Oh,
Green
wow.
sitting on the deck.
That's
So it was
sick.
this like really special thing that, you know, a special night for us. The first time a band came from that far away,
Yeah.
trusted us, and then my neighbor painted this amazing piece of art that we'll have forever to like remember that night for. So that's really cool. That's one of my
Wow.
favorite moments.
That's super
Well, I
cool.
think, too, it like speaks to, like,
That's a good one.
So cool.
it speaks to that, like, what's going on here while we're all fully involved. Like, he is sitting inside there, like, in his world. We're all fully involved in the aesthetics of this place and making sure that everything's, you know, being captured the right way, the lighting is right, everything's dialed in. What's actually happening on this stage, like, really until it gets into the editing phase, that's when all of a sudden we get sent a proof from him, and we're all like, oh. Oh my gosh. You know, like, because initially it's coming from your camera, you're seeing your view, and
Yeah.
like how I operate is like make a video of just your situation, what's happening. Your whole shot should be a video that somebody could watch, and by the end of it, you're like, that was amazing. But then you rewatch it and you get his angle, you get his angle,
Wow.
you get his angle, and
Yeah.
you're like, this is something so much more special. And then for somebody to be on the outside of that while it's happening and then like paint an entire picture because they were so inspired by that moment that
Yeah.
happened to them, like for the split second, they like decided that I want to stay in this, you know, I want to
Yeah.
bring my creativity into this, because we've had painters sit next to us while the session's going down
People
and
sketching and
painting the
cool stuff,
situation
yeah.
that's
Yeah.
happening, and they just feeling it, and it's like it's a special spot, and it really does, it just produces creativity from it because of what the band brings, what we try to bring to capture it, and then what, you know, their roadies experience. Like everything that happens in this little space is like, it's powerful, but it's hard to I don't know why we got on that conversation.
It's
but
awesome.
yeah, it's
It's
like
fun.
Yeah.
it's special. It's a
awesome.
special spot.
You know, you said this a minute ago, but it was one of the funniest things. Like the first time I came to a session, it's like just not knowing really what to expect, but knowing it was legit at this point. You know what I mean? One of the funniest things for me was like this window here and just like seeing it open up and Alex like stick his head out and be like, yeah, we're good. Like close it. You know what I mean? Like,
With the special
there's
crack,
something,
you're
yeah,
wondering
there's
like, what did
something
Al
about
do?
it, like no matter how
It's Alex's window.
professional it will ever be, it will
it.
always be like Alex sticking his head out a window. You know what I mean? Like
This little window.
That
of the
window
Sugar
is
Shack,
like
you know?
Yeah.
such
It's the
a.
window.
That's
Yeah.
character.
Yeah.
It's been there
awesome.
for a lot of things. It's about a Gnomeo.
It's one of those.
It's a level of Gnomeo status.
It's one of
Why?
those
'Cause
weird
I
things.
broke it too.
Yeah, it's one of those weird things. Yeah, for sure.
This house, about this.
Yeah,
space.
it's survived
Yeah.
Justin.
He broke the window too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's more than just the cup that brings warmth and focus to your daily routine. It fuels good times and new beginnings, and unites old friends. And like live music, we gather wherever it's brewing. Beneath these palms, we discuss our dreams. We share songs of love, intention, and inspiration in its purest form. Every pour sparks creativity, and every sip starts a story.
We're gonna come to a close a little bit. Some fans kind of have some questions.
We do have some fan submitted
Hey,
questions.
Yeah, some cool stuff.
Okay, let's
So-
see what we
Thanks,
have.
guys.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, we love our fans.
We love answering questions.
Okay, let's see what questions haven't been answered already. Are your videos filmed at a venue, and is that venue open to the public?
It's probably the number one question.
Always.
What's the answer, Arian?
This is the venue.
This is it. We've been talking about
And
it.
no, it's not open to the public.
It's Eddie's house.
I wish we could. We try. We have friends and family come, but it's, we're in a closed area. We try to respect the bands too, and
Yeah.
as much as we wish we could have everybody come, we can't. But we're always working on ideas to maybe make that a reality someday. So
Yeah, there's only
Wouldn't
one
you
driveway.
say that that's kind of something that's unique
It is.
about like a band coming to do a session
Yes.
here?
Yeah,
It's like
absolutely.
it's kind of a break from the tour
It
in a
is,
sense.
yeah.
Like, hey, you don't have to
Absolutely.
like exert that additional energy. Like
Yeah.
you can just hang and have a beer and eat some food and just like
Right.
kind of just chill out
Yeah.
and just kind
That's a
of
big part of
center back
this.
to like it's just about music and expression and passion and
Yeah.
you don't have to like spend all this time with fans post shows
Yeah.
and things like that.
Like, come here and enjoy your time and
Yeah.
relax, because like a lot of this is the bands that are on tour and they're traveling day to day to day,
Mhm.
and like
Yeah.
this
They're toast.
this
They
isn't
get out
another
of their
tour stop.
van.
Just come here and hang out for a
Yeah.
few hours, or
Yeah.
spend a day and go to the beach with us and paddleboard or whatever. Like
Right.
let's
Yeah.
keep
It's
it
like
chill.
you can go see these bands whenever they're on tour,
Yeah,
like but they don't get Sugar Shack.
Yeah.
they don't get many of these types of opportunities.
they're all normal people. They want to relax too.
Yeah.
I mean, they're out
Right.
there working and hustling. So
Yeah.
like we try to give them a little time to chill and not have people just on them constantly. So
Love it.
Next question. I meant to mention that last question was from Riley is Cray Cray. So
Craig,
What a cray.
Shout out to Riley. Is Craig. I'm the shout out guy, I guess.
you are. I like how you lean into the microphone a little bit too.
You gotta do it.
Your voice gets like normal sounding at that level.
Al said, "Don't lean into the microphone."
No, but
He's been
For the shout out.
I said don't do this.
wow.
that is why.
That's why. That's why.
that was heavy.
He'll fix it. He'll
Okay.
clean it up.
Next question from Bepco Live. This one, I think this one goes to Alex. Do you offer any sound engineering classes?
That's a good question.
Well, I'm
You should
Wow.
raise a glass to that.
To the
Yeah,
Alex.
cheers.
Yeah, Alex, you should.
I think we might have a new idea.
I am open to that. I've never thought about that before. Again, we try to keep it humble here. I've never really thought of myself as somebody that needed classes from, so that's kind of cool to hear. Thank you very
Awesome.
much. Could be in the future.
Stay tuned.
All right.
We'll let you know.
Cool idea.
Mr. Casement.
Next question from. Maybe we'll do two more.
Yeah.
This next one from Mario Burgo. What about a Brazil tour or /show?
Yes.
That would be amazing.
That's the
Let's put it on the list.
Yes.
We have a lot of
Brazil.
fans in Brazil and South America. I mean, we'd would love to.
I think Brazil's our number 2 demographic.
Yeah.
Just make
I
sure you
would
line
love
up
to
a
go to Brazil.
podcast deal for that so that I can come along.
Yeah,
and talk about it.
yeah.
He's already on the list. He's already on the
Yeah,
list.
Like, let me go ahead and just sneak it, just slide in there.
Absolutely.
We
You
have,
speak Portuguese?
I will learn.
Because I don't.
As long
I
as
mean,
we can go surfing down there.
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yes.
We do have some ideas about a travel series in the near future, so
That's cool.
maybe Brazil can be on the list.
It absolutely should be on.
Brazil
Yeah.
should be on all
Absolutely.
lists. Just got to get to Brazil.
That'd be
Gotta
fun.
do it.
Sick. Let's do one more. Let's see.
2 more. You said 1. Let's do 2.
2 more? Okay.
Let's just extend this.
This one's for let's give this one to Justin. From from Elizabeth Geddes.
love your eyes.
What
It's not a question, Elizabeth.
I love your eyes.
Yeah, there you go.
what's your biggest challenge on your set? Good question.
That's a good question.
That plug.
Bugs.
Well, there's several. There's several things. Yeah. The biggest though is probably space. It's a very tight space, so
Yeah.
to fit
Weather.
all the damn weather. Yeah, we get a lot of rain here.
Weather.
Yeah.
I'll give you a list of challenges we face.
We've been lucky for the past like 3 months because it's
Yeah.
been winter in Florida,
Winter
so
time.
it's
It doesn't
only
rain a
been
lot.
like 80 degrees out. So like the weather has stayed.
It's not sticky
Yeah.
humid yet.
It's,
Chill.
it's a battle of, I'm sure, things of sound. Like you hear sirens right now.
There they are.
I'll enhance that later.
Space, like I said, it's a very small set, so to get a full band down here and with cameras, getting the right lenses to get everyone in the shot. Another challenge, parking.
Yeah.
It's just a driveway, so not a lot of parking. Light is always changing. Sometimes we start shooting sessions about the time we started shooting this podcast, and I had to stop earlier to change the light because this light gets too bright as it gets darker. That might be all of them.
I think the
Biggest
challenges
In our
have been
challenge
like
guys?
figured out because over time we've like dealt with challenges.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
I'm looking at a metal piece right here that used to be wood, and there's like a challenge of understanding like what can we
Yeah.
mount to this house. Like there's just so many things that you're like, no studio has ever been challenged with like too little space. You know, we've like kind of put ourselves in a spot and then said, let's make things happen here versus where like you have a studio and you're like, okay, where are we going to place everything? This is like, well, we only can do that. We can only put the camera there, you know, like, so it really does.
Mosquitoes are a challenge.
Negative.
too.
Yeah.
Try not to.
I would say the
Mosquitoes.
interesting thing about
Mosquitoes
limitations, though,
and the
is
bees.
that
Mosquitoes.
it
Bees.
gives birth to more creativity. In a lot of
Totally.
ways,
Make
you
it
know? You can do
pushes
anything
you.
and everything, then it gets boring so quick. But
Yep.
it's kind of the limitations that keep you on your toes a little bit.
And it,
Oh, yeah.
it keeps us on
Good
our
point.
toes. Like
Yeah.
being on our toes all the time here, I've already seen it like millions of times out there in the field where like we're faced with something that might be like a deal breaker, but we're able to work around it
Yeah.
because we've been sitting here and it's been raining and we had to completely redo everything and pull it inside and
Yeah.
like figure out how's this going to look good. Like
Yeah.
Eddie's got to do all these movements of his home.
Redecorate my
Last
entire house.
minute. We've retrofitted an Airbnb and made it look like it was
Love it.
supposed to be a freaking soundstage. Like
Yeah.
it's just that comes with.
Don't
be
let the
doing
cats
this.
out either.
Don't let
Oh,
the
the
cats
cats
out.
are the biggest
Don't
challenge.
let the cats out.
Don't let them out.
And from
Cats
out,
are always
Terrible.
That's never on any studio you'll ever see ever. It's like all these lists of do nots, and one is never do not let the cats out.
We did have artists come one time that brought a bunch of cats.
That's
Yes.
right. They brought
Right?
Oh
kittens.
yeah, but they left them in their car.
6 kittens, 8 kittens.
Just in the car.
Well, like with
She
the
brought 'em
windows
out.
down.
I think she brought them.
Was that Alabama
couple of
Rose?
them.
They were alive when they.
She was
They
adoption.
were
It
alive.
was an adoption.
That's
think she-
interesting.
She just got them.
Cool.
She, like,
All
rescued
right.
We've seen a lot of things.
I'm
Nice person taking care of a bunch of baby kittens.
That's for episode 2. We'll
That's
talk
it. Right? Next time on the Sugar.
We'll have to
Shack
do a crew.
podcast.
We'll have to do another crew podcast like later on down the road.
Yeah,
That'd be
sure.
fun.
We got stories for days.
Yeah.
As we kind of bring this down to land, what's the future look like for Sugar Shack? What are some projects on the horizon?
There's a lot
cooking
of stuff. I mean, we didn't even talk about
Podcast.
Sugarshack Records.
Yeah.
Sky's the limit, Bryce.
Oh, damn. We didn't talk about Sugarshack
We
Records.
should chat a little bit about that.
Talk about
man.
Sugarshack Records.
I'll tell
A
us
little bit.
about
Was it 2 years ago we launched our record label?
It's always been a dream of ours. So
I mean, a record label. Think about that.
yeah, a record label, but it's not that you think like a traditional record label where you think you're going to sign a band, they're going to come in the studio, and
Yeah.
essentially we're using Sugarshack Records as a platform to put out all the music we've created on the deck
Yeah.
and other places too. But we feel that we capture magic here. I'll spend.
Sorry, bro.
Can I get someone? So there's this, like, I keep bringing up this word magic, and that's really what it feels like to me. So we create magic on this deck with the artists, and it's this version of the songs that people love, and sometimes they love it more than the studio recordings.
Mm-hmm.
I personally, half the stuff, I know I'm a little biased, but half the stuff I listen to, I actually prefer the versions of songs recorded on this deck more than the studio recording.
Mm-hmm.
There's just something about it. So we decided a couple years ago we're going to start putting that out on DSPs, which are the like Spotify, iTunes, etc. So not only can you find it on YouTube, but you can now find majority of the stuff that we record on Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, etc.
That's awesome. Sick.
Oh,
Yep.
The podcast.
Just
a new
another
project. This is a new project.
Yeah.
totally.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Excited about this one.
Sick.
Oh, and shout out to Ineffable Music.
Yes.
They've
Yes.
been helping us
Big partners
very
in
hard.
that.
They're
Oh,
big
cool.
partners in that. Ineffable Music has a huge part in the scene that we work in, and they're just incredible people. Thomas Cousins, thank you. Igor,
Oh, yeah.
Adam,
Good
Abel.
crew.
I feel like they
Abel, all those guys.
they went through a whole lot themselves to get
Yeah.
to a point of understanding the stuff that they're helping us with. It's
Yeah.
like to be
Yeah.
able to have him work with them and get our videos into the audio form. It's a whole nother realm, and one that we've wanted to be a part of. But it's just so cool having somebody who's vetted and like been in that realm for so long that's second nature to them.
Yeah.
So we're able to bring what we have, and what we have, and like, yeah. I mean, I have no idea about that realm. That it's video for me, and it's like to see our stuff now on Spotify, to be listening to it on all the audio different platforms. It's a whole nother realm. It's
Yeah.
like
It's awesome.
brings a little tear to your eye. It really does.
So sick.
We're growing.
I know there's so much more that we could keep unpacking.
Oh,
we
man.
definitely have to come back and do another episode down the road for sure.
If people
For sure, back
want
together.
it, if they want it,
If they want
we'll
it,
do it.
fans need it.
There's one more thing that
Do
I
it.
want to talk about. Just skim with upcoming projects is we're working on a concept of taking what we do here on the road. I'll just leave
cool.
it at that.
Yep.
Very interesting.
On the road or on a
On the road
plane?
again.
Maybe
It's
on
uncharted, really.
And
In a
on
train?
Unplugged
On a
as
train?
well. I don't know.
On an
With
automobile?
a fox in a box.
I do want to give a shout out to the better halves of our lives that have supported us
Oh,
through all
yeah.
this
100%.
too. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
my
They
wife,
deserve
my
everything.
daughter, like
Yeah.
they've put up a lot. I know everybody else is in the same boat, so thank you for all that.
the,
For
su-
sure.
the
But,
sugar
like, we just go in a
wives.
circle and just say our significant others' names. Like, no, for real. Like,
Yeah.
All
I
right, give me
know
your
this.
best Emmy right now. I just want to thank all right, friends, my
Whitney
family.
I love you so much.
Yo,
No, they're all always
Alright.
ready. Literally, they've been ready from the beginning. Like with us pitching them what we were going to be doing, they were okay with it being just a hobby, and they were okay with it being a job.
Yeah.
And like from the get go, there's not been a peep from any of them about like, well, are you sure? Like it's
Right.
just been like,
A lot of support.
that's
Wow.
you,
Tons of
that's your
crazy.
thing, and
yeah.
can do it.
It's
Because
huge.
we started this, and we worked until we all quit our jobs.
Yeah.
I quit my job first, and then like I think Justin quit, and
Yeah.
I think Spence
was a
quit.
zigzag.
We all just like
Yeah.
kind of like slowly started quitting our jobs, and
There's thousands plus hours put into this.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Before it
Unbelievable.
was even making
Yeah.
any kind of wake in the world of being a job. Like it was like just hours and days and weeks and put into this thing just because we were like, dude, come on. Like the band's gonna be coming to this. Shit. Like,
It's gonna be cool. I
you can
promise.
see it.
It's
It's
awesome.
like a free
It's a leap
Yeah.
of faith. I mean, like,
Come on.
you got to
Yes.
understand, like, none
Yeah.
of us have business backgrounds. Like, we did not
No.
start this as a business thinking, like, oh, here's the business plan, and we're gonna sell this in 10 years. Like
Ed
like
saw a YouTube video. We all agree.
solid business plan. Let's do it.
Like, let's do it.
So
Yeah.
good.
Got it.
And honestly, that's where we're at now. Like we
Yeah.
still like we don't have like business. I mean, we're more business minded. That's for
Sure.
that's
Than
for
ever.
sure.
You
We've
have to.
learned a lot about that shit. But,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
to make this full time jobs for everybody. But anyways, just want
Yeah.
people to know that like this is not about money for us, and it I fucking hope it will never be. But
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that's where we're at.
Mhm.
awesome.
And our,
100%.
and our wives have stood by us the entire time.
It's awesome.
It's unbelievable.
100%.
Sick. Love it.
Yeah.
Well, guys, thank you so much for taking some
Bryce.
time and just
Oh, yeah.
unpacking it. It's been really fun.
Thanks,
And,
Bryce.
this
Thank
is a great
you,
way to
bro.
kick it off, right?
Oh, yeah.
This is the best way.
It's awesome.
Yeah, this
no
is
other way to
fun.
do it.
We
Not
needed
a,
this.
not a bad
Cheers.
place to do it.
We
Cheers.
needed this.
Not a bad place.
Thanks, guys.
Boom.
Y'all still got drinks?
No, mine's in.
Round 7.
I'll just close it out real
Yeah,
quick,
yeah, yeah.
and then you can
Send 'em
go
off.
wherever. But guys, thanks so much for joining us today on the first ever episode of the Sugarshack Podcast. You can listen to it on wherever podcasts are streaming, like Apple Music or Spotify. Just go to the Sugarshack Sessions. You can follow us on Instagram at Sugarshack Sessions, or hit us up on YouTube at Sugarshack Music Channel. Also, don't forget, we've got some really sick merch out right now, like this dad hat that you can scoop up on our website at sugarshacksessions.com. We'll see you soon for episode 2. Take care.
Sit back, relax, 'cause it's time for another podcast.
We did it.
Bryce, you got
did
that
it.
shit in
We
the
got a
bag,
fan,
bro.
man.
How many times have you practiced that?
Sugar Shack, 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 Sugar Shack.